Welcome, Dental Nachos crew, to another episode of Talking Nachos. I'm Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodwin, where we bring you good ideas to help you increase success, decrease stress, and most of all, reduce the number of times you feel like crying inside a day. I've made this very, very sophisticated graphic to explain what it feels like to be a dentist. Often, as a dentist, you may be crying on the inside or outside throughout your day. Your team may be fighting. You may have dropped a tiny little band on the floor. Your insurances are reducing your fees. Your amazing team is fighting over paper towels and who took the last roll. But Talking Nachos is here to help you increase, develop your dentisting core, your mind skills, your word skills, your hand skills. So watch in, because we need more good people sharing great information with us. We have a key resource and sponsor coming up in just a minute. But before I bring them up, I want to ask you, if you are a dentist or work in a dental office, have you ever heard, raise your hand if you hear, I just want to let you know, I hate the dentist. I hate being here. When patients say that, I want to say, I just want to let you know you could keep that inside of your head. But for some reason, us dentists who are just trying to help you chew and smile with confidence, dentists and their amazing teams just trying to help you eat nachos, we get a lot of haterade for that. We get a lot of, we don't like being here. But my first guest, they love dentists. So I'd like you to bring up our first guest. It'll be a surprise. We have Josh Metal of Neo Home Loans, an awesome key resource and sponsor. Josh, tell us, why do you like dentists?
Oh man, the list is long. First of all, I like my white straight teeth. So thank you to all the dentists I've had over the years. I'd be remiss if I didn't point that out. And, it was interesting, Paul, early in my career, we started working with medical professionals. And I thought from the outside, well, dentists, medical professionals, they're not going to need us. They've got all the money in the world. And then I realized, oh my gosh, that's a long runway. You've got to get through all that schooling, and they have all that student loan indebtedness. And then they've spent all their energy trying to keep all of that going. And they haven't spent a lot of time focusing on financial literacy. And dentists actually have problems.
Yeah. And Josh, I want to interject. I tell my wife, you just saw, I don't interrupt. I just interject with good ideas. There's a myth, right? Because people think, oh, that dentist has so much money, that doctor has so much money, but you go through school, you take out debt, you're paid very little through parts of your career. So some of the things I like to reframe for our audience, because we have dentists, we have team members, we have people who support dentists, that early in your career that can be tremendous financial struggles. You guys are an awesome key resource and sponsor. I want you to share in a minute, how do you help with this pain? So we can bring up your text code for in a minute here, but Neo Home Loans, buying a home, a big part of our dentisting journey. Dentists are thinking throughout their training, I just want to get my first home. And then they get out and, you think you have $500,000 in debt, but dentists, banks like us. So take it from there.
Yeah, very true. And so the other thing I was going to say was delayed gratification, right? I mean, we've been suffering so long to get through education and finally get to that place where we're going to make money. And of course, part of that delayed gratification, or what we're looking forward to, is buying our own home, or buying a nice home that we actually want to live in. So I'd say that, Paul, that we solve challenges in two different ways. The first one is we've developed a suite of loan programs. There's actually 5 different medical professional loan programs that we've put together for, all different medical professionals across the entire spectrum. And our goal is to be able to put dentists in homes faster, with great loans and little to zero down, depending on the particular loan program and the loan amount. So whether someone is self-employed and they're hearing from their bank they need 2 years tax returns, we can help. Whether someone's going 1099 as an independent contractor and they're hearing from their bank, well, you're technically self-employed, we need 2 years tax returns, we can help. Whether somebody's looking to buy a $2 million house and they'd rather keep the majority of their capital invested in their business rather than putting a massive down payment down, we can help. We have loans that will do 100% financing up to $1 million, as little as 5% down up to $2 million, and then solutions for all those other kind of challenges, student loan, indebtedness, all those commonplace challenges that dentists face.
I love this. During the pandemic, there was John Krasinski, one of my favorite actors. It's Some Good News, SGN, where he was trying to bring good news. So this is some good news, Dennis, and I've had a chance to speak with you. So let me simplify some of this. So let's just go. You go with yes or no. So if you're a dentist who's about to get your first job, tell me about this 90-day thing, or tell me about, you can get a loan for a home with 0% down. This is some good news. And you were sharing this even better. Tell me about this 90-day thing.
Right. So one of the big challenges, if somebody's taking a job and potentially moving across the country, Nobody wants to take their job and then move their family in. They want to get settled. They want to get their family into their home. So one of the options that we have will allow you to use a valid employment contract or offer letter that will enable you to then use that future income and close on your home up to 90 days before you start your employment.
So I mean, this is, there's so much moving around the country for so many good reasons right now. Sometimes your spouse is taking a job somewhere else, and the dentist job is the most mobile job to have. So it really is, that's a lot of security. Why do the banks like us so much? We have, you're getting dentist student loans, and they're going to pay those off. Practice loans again. I'm glad to see home loans. Tell us just a little value as to, why do banks think we're good risks?
Yeah, well, I mean, think about the last recession, right? Or think about the last couple of recessions. Through any recession I can remember, people still need to have their medical conditions taken care of. People still need their teeth cleaned. People still need, orthodontics work. They regardless of recession, have these essential services, which of course dentists provide. And so banks have figured out in hindsight, hey, let's look back through these recessionary times. Let's look through the housing crash. And they've been able to accumulate a tremendous amount of data. And one of the things they've figured out is, even through the Great Recession and the housing crash, which was the biggest downslump in housing, going back to the Depression, medical professionals had an incredibly low default rate on their primary residence. And so, those statistics have led to more generous loan options for dentists and other medical professionals.
And then I'll add something that might be hard to show on a stat sheet, but one of our other sponsors does something with loans. Talk about this with dentists and doctors. Dentists and doctors don't like to disappoint people. And I think they just really will stick with their loans. There was I'll introduce you to this other key resource and sponsor, Doc to Doc Lending. And they said that, dentists just like to do the right thing, stick with their commitments. And I think that if the banks bank on them, to use sort of a double word there, bank on them early in their career, will come back to them. Now let's talk about details for a second as we wrap up. Somebody's watching this thinking, this is exactly what I need. I need a home. 0% down sounds great. They can text home to 215-543-6454. But what's the process like with you? Do you go on a Zoom call, a phone call? Do they need to give their tax returns? Tell us a little bit about this initial process.
Yeah, Paul, the other thing I was going to say, the one way we can help is that we can provide you access to loan programs that many banks do not have, these access to dentist and medical professional loans. But the second way that we help medical professionals is to really think through a holistic approach to their overall indebtedness and financial plan. So many times we'll see somebody say, hey, I'm going to sell my home and I want to move $500,000 into a down payment on my new home, but they're not thinking that they're paying 6 or 7% on their practice loan, and they still have student loans on a 10-year amortization, and those are eating up massive chunks of their monthly cash flow. So one of the things that we do is we create what's called a total cost analysis that breaks down multiple loan options, shows them multiple options for different down payments, different loan structures. Should we go interest only? Should we go 30 years? Should we go 15 year? And then we show the long-term ramifications of those decisions as it impacts not only the cost of the loan, but the wealth impact on the family. In other words, we just had a client that we showed how to pull money out of their house, pay off their practice loan and their pool loan. It created another $1,800 in their budget. That invested with their financial advisor over the next 30 years, created another $4 million in savings with that financial advisor by the end of that runway. And it was just something that wasn't on their horizon to think about how do we use leverage in the house to actually create wealth. And so that's something we help with. That starts with what we call a dreams and goals call, which is either a phone or a Zoom consultation. We then put together that total cost analysis to show you your options, follow that up with our pre-purchase consultation. And then last but not least, Paul, that's super urgent in this market. We currently have the lowest housing inventory ever in the history of the United States. There's an average of 4 offers on every real estate listing. 1 out of 3 homes is being sold by cash, and 1 out of 5 homes is being sold to an investor, hedge funds, those types of entities that are buying massive quantities of homes. So one of the other things that we'll do with people looking to buy a home, take them all the way through underwriting. So they have an underwritten approval. It's like I call it a blank check. Essentially, at that point, you can go out and write an offer with complete confidence and sometimes close as fast as cash.
That's such tremendous value. That's why I like doing these shows, because what you have done is, you've recentered people's thoughts. And, it's one of my things is work with people who do this stuff every day, from a dental focused attorney to our golden doodle trainer who's coming tomorrow. I'm not just going to YouTube how to get Tilly to go to the bathroom right. So one of the things dentists do, and it's not always our fault, is we have this weird expectation in dental school we should know everything, even if it's not in our field, right? And I've been someone, I'm 44. I've gone through the world of nutrition and personal training. Early in my life, eating fat would make you fat. Now, eating fat is good for you. You can eat avocados, but you need a nutritionist. You need a personal trainer to help you with your nutrition. What you shared there is you need people to understand how money works, how debt works, to guide you, because there are a lot of systems that, just like your client who was able to lower their monthly payments, pay things off. And I'm assuming that increased their happiness factor, Josh. I'm assuming that made them feel more like this after that.
I don't know if I had to write $1,800 less out of my checking account every month, my happy factor would go way up. So I agree with you.
Well, we're going to have you back on for more shows. You really are great. I have your text code here, but just as someone's watching this, how can they reach out to you guys directly? Is there a website that you guys would like to send people to? We can share that as well.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much. Medicalprofessionalhomeloans.com is probably the best place for you to go. And of course, you can email me, josh@joshmetal.com, and I'll respond to you personally and answer any questions you might have.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh. Share in the chat here. I'll talk to you just in a few minutes, Brielle. You can bring Josh off. And if we have any other guests, we can bring them up. If not, this Talking Nachos episode is always available for you to watch on YouTube, on Facebook. If you'd like to be a guest on Talking Nachos, just text SALSA to 215-543-6454 or email connect@dentalnachos.com.